The method Jim Kwik teaches in his N-negative self-talk audio recordings are a great way to get people started on this journey, but it's something that he flows through a little too quick. So today we're going to be expanding on his lessons to help you get that much more out of it, plus an extra tip at the end of the video to help you go deeper into transforming your negative self-talk. What is going on, warriors? This is your personal development coach John here, and this channel is all about providing you with the knowledge and tools to help you build your warrior within to become your next level self. And working on your self-talk is at the top of my list when it comes to any improvements that you want to make in your life. Whether it's communication skills, weight loss, confidence building, goal achievement, or boosting your self-esteem, you need to work on your negative self-talk and inner critic. Without any intentional work on this, you'll end up looping into self-sabotage, creating an artificial limit that you won't be able to get past. In this first part, Jim Kwik emphasizes that the goal is not to completely stop it, that a bit of self-criticism is a good thing. And I agree. This is the part that can act as the inner coach to help motivate and push us out of our comfort zone. The trouble is the subtle negative self-talk, the one we don't even realize is doing the damage. This tends to be what many of us say out loud without even thinking. Oh, I'm terrible with names. I'm not that smart. I'm a slow learner. My memory sucks. I'm not good enough for X or Y. You get the point. This is the type of self-talk that when you bring awareness to it, it really opens up your eyes to the issue at hand. You begin to understand that the only reason this is still a reality in your life is because of how your repetition continues to feed the underlying belief of that program. And because this belief is so old and rooted, it can feel ridiculous to even attempt working on overcoming this false limitation. Now, before Jim gets into the acronym action part, he shares two imperative things that you do not want to do with negative self-talk. Don't fight them, and don't fight for them. What he means by not fighting them is referring to what you may automatically want to do when they come up. Resisting them. And he's absolutely right. Resisting never works because the direct image of what we're pushing up against continues to be there. We are far better off finding a way around it that involves working to solve the issue than trying to resist the problem. A solution is what's needed, not a war. Now the second part, don't fight for them, here he's basically referring to what we mentioned a minute ago. The subtle negative self-talk such as, I'm terrible at, I'm no good with, I can't X, I should X, etc. When we say these things, we are unknowingly fighting for our limitations, leading us to, well, getting to keep them. Holding on to something that literally serves no purpose other than perpetuating this belief, resulting in the action of something we say we are no good at, can't do, terrible with, should do, should start, should be, never be able to do. I mean, continuing on like this will actually do something else. You'll likely attract more people into your life that actually share this commonality with. You can have the greatest time getting together arguing about who's worse at what. What Jim is showing us here before getting into the real action part is literally one of the biggest takeaways. Self-awareness. This is not only bringing the awareness of the issue at hand, but it begins the process of wiring neurons together, creating an alternate neural route, a new pathway you can keep expanding on as you choose the new path of different self-talk over the same old patterns. Now, for anyone that doesn't know about Jim Kwik, he actually suffered a childhood brain injury in the classroom that left him very cognitively challenged. His story of being ridiculed in school and even labeled by teachers as the boy with the broken brain perpetuated these educational difficulties for him. It took the guy 4 years just to relearn how to read again. And though he continued to struggle immensely with his learning disability into college, he eventually chose something different. Jim began to train himself, developing learning strategies that ultimately led him to become recognized around the world as a leader in learning, an expert in memory improvement, speed reading, and brain performance. And if you know anyone else with a similar story, then drop their name into the comments. This just goes to show you that the limitations we experience are more of an effect from that which we choose to believe, from the results of the programs that we keep feeding our supercomputer mind through our words and thoughts. The result? It keeps creating the same repetitive loop and physical results. But this is where we can begin to interrupt this pattern and feed a new program via altering our negative self-talk. This is where he steps into the daily use actionable part, and of course, with an absolutely genius acronym for us to help remember it easier. Abracadabra. Abracadabra is a term that you've likely heard growing up at some point when being drawn into the world of magicians, the word of which has a deeper foundational meaning in Aramaic of "I will create as I speak," which is fitting as ever for what we're actually doing here. Now, he uses just the first part of the term abra, which he breaks down into the following. A is for acknowledge. Acknowledge the negative self-talk. Just see it. Don't resist it. B is for breathe. Follow this by taking in a deep and relaxing breath to help you with reducing any tension or judgment that may come up as a result from this unfamiliar exercise that you're now doing. Again, being cautious not to resist it. R is for release. Release what you don't want. Let go of the limitation. Let go of the hurt associated with it. But make sure not to overanalyze here. Just imagine it flying away from you. And the final, most important part, align. Align yourself with the new statement that you wish to replace it with, and use your imagination for this, to create a new belief that's in line with who you want to be. Jim lists off examples of affirmations to use such as, I have a great memory, I can learn things quickly and easily, my focus is my gift, and so on. And while he did emphasize the term that I'm not the biggest fan of, the term magic trick, what he's getting at here is the important part of this affirmation process, explaining that you want to go beyond just saying the words. You need to bring pictures in with your mind to imagine and really feel it, as this is what will help to actually accelerate the process of the new connections being formed in your brain. Now, I don't know how many of you actually watched the video or listened to the talk where he goes over this specific method, so if you did, let me know in the comments by typing I did. Though more importantly, if you watched it more than once, then let me know how many times you did as well down there. The reason I ask is because, while motivation is great and all, it can get the ball rolling with a bit of momentum, it really doesn't stick around for too long, especially when we get discouraged from the initial application or practicing of this method, assuming people even take it that far. So I want to lightly expand on this here to give you more context, to help you make better use of applying this transformational knowledge. So coming back to the first letter, the A for acknowledge, you really want to be cautious of something. Be careful not to attach yourself to the negative self-talk you're bringing awareness to. Now, this will be the most difficult at first. Again, the purpose is to just bring awareness to it. We don't want to fall into the trap of judging ourselves, which can lead us to feeling bad about ourselves, giving the inner critic even more power to put us down. The next step of breathing is the follow-up for the initial stress that you might feel since you are doing something unfamiliar to your brain with bringing this awareness to it. You see, unfamiliarity, even if it's beneficial because it's creating an important transformation like this, will always bring up anxiety in some form. Our brains are literally prediction-creating machines, so we're literally wired to feel uncomfortable and be on alert when we do something that's different than what's normal for us. So the two parts of breathing and releasing of Jim's method are the next steps of this pattern interrupt, interrupting the familiar flow of our automatic negative self-talk. So while the release part may seem wooey to some of you, there's a deeper purpose in the thought of imagining the release of it. But this is only half of it. With the interruption in place, we still need the actionable steps in order to form a new path that we can make into a familiar, solid new road to go down when the negative self-talk comes up for us. And this is where I want to add in something new. Something more actionable beyond just thinking about what you want to align with. This is where we can take it to the next level. Start carrying around a pocket-sized notebook or a piece of paper in your pocket everywhere you go. And when that negative self-talk or critic comes up, as soon as you finish taking that breath, quickly write it out in point form, the negative self-talk you experienced. Make sure to do this every time it happens, and if it's a repetitive term that keeps coming up for you, just add an extra checkmark to the end of it. That's it. Just start with this to keep it simple. I like to take the tiny habits approach from Stanford psychologist Dr. BJ Fogg in simplifying new habits as much as possible to make it an easier habit to take on in your life. Anyway, from here, set a time for yourself, once or twice a week, to sit and reflect on what you want to actually align with, the replacement phrases that you're going to create for the negative self-talk. Make sure to write them out in your journal. Write them out in a way that really aligns with you and what you actually want to change in your life. In any way that aligns with your values and the values of who you even want to become. Really, give yourself this time and start practicing these alternative phrases you've created. You can literally set a 5-minute session to happen every morning right after you brush your teeth to write them out. But I need you to be cautious of something. Don't fall into the affirmation trap. there is a serious reason why I highly suggest including this journaling method to actually succeed in this. It's a serious trap that I've come to realize in my personal growth experience and coaching practice. It is the most inevitable and illogical thing that basically everyone on the planet does when trying to improve any part of their lives, and almost always results in making your growth far more difficult or giving up completely. And this is exactly what we're going to run through in the next video, where I'll be breaking down what Jim Kwik missed here and providing you with the solution. This is a skill that I'm constantly using in life that will bring you huge value and accelerate your journey towards becoming your next level self. I'll see you in the next one, warriors.